Pope Francis, champion of the poor and marginalized. Pope Francis' papacy has been deeply defined by his commitment to the poor, homeless, and marginalized. He has made it clear that the Church must be a voice for those on the fringes of society, standing in solidarity with the most vulnerable. But what motivates Pope Francis to prioritize the poor as the core of his ministry? From the start of his papacy, Pope Francis made it clear that his focus would be on the poor. By choosing the name Francis, after Saint Francis of Assisi, he symbolically linked himself to a tradition of selfless service to the most vulnerable. Saint Francis dedicated his life to the poor, and Pope Francis saw his role as continuing this mission, embodying humility and service. In his apostolic exhortation, Evangelii Gaudium, the joy of the gospel, Pope Francis passionately spoke about the need for a church that reaches out to the marginalized. He emphasized that the Church should not just serve the rich and powerful but should also be a refuge for those suffering and oppressed. The poor, Pope Francis believes, are not simply recipients of charity, they have a special place in God's heart and an essential role to play in the Church's mission. One of the central themes of Pope Francis' papacy is the preferential option for the poor, which is rooted in Catholic social teaching. This principle teaches that the Church must prioritize the needs of the poor and work toward eliminating the systemic injustices that perpetuate their suffering. Pope Francis has repeatedly spoken out against the global economic systems that cause inequality and exploitation, calling for a more just distribution of wealth and resources. In his groundbreaking 2015 encyclical, Laudato Si, Pope Francis highlighted the strong connection between environmental degradation and poverty. He pointed out that the poorest communities are most affected by environmental harm, such as pollution and climate change. Pope Francis called for a holistic approach to caring for the environment and the poor, arguing that the two issues cannot be separated. Caring for the earth, he emphasized, is deeply linked to caring for those who are most vulnerable to its destruction. Pope Francis has also made significant efforts to address the refugee crisis, one of the most pressing issues of our time. He has repeatedly called for greater compassion and solidarity toward refugees, emphasizing their dignity and rights. In 2016, Pope Francis visited the Greek island of Lesbos, where thousands of refugees had fled war and persecution. His visit served as a powerful demonstration of solidarity, and he even brought 12 Syrian refugees back to the Vatican to highlight the Church's commitment to displaced people. Beyond his global advocacy, Pope Francis has made the Vatican a place of compassion for the homeless. He has established shelters for the homeless in Vatican City, and he personally washed the feet of prisoners and the homeless, demonstrating humility and service. These acts have been an inspiration to many, showing that the Church's commitment to the poor goes beyond words. Pope Francis' life and ministry have been a powerful example of humility and simplicity. He has rejected the opulent lifestyle often associated with the papacy, instead living modestly and focusing on service. His actions consistently remind us that true greatness is found in serving those most in need. In conclusion, Pope Francis has dedicated his papacy to advocating for the poor and marginalized, teaching us that those who are often ignored or excluded must be at the heart of our care and concern. His commitment to the poor is not just about charity, but about fulfilling the core message of the gospel. Pope Francis challenges us to see Christ in the face of the poor and to work toward a more just and compassionate world.